Hello and welcome to Back to School Night. My name is Megan Wallach, and I'm going to be answering some of your questions, but definitely not all of them in this short video. So some of the things I will be talking about is a little bit about who I am. I'm new to ISA, so I'm definitely new to you and your student, so I want to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to share with you what resources are available for your student and how they can be successful in class. We'll talk a little bit about what the syllabus covers, but not in depth at all. So if you do have more questions, feel free to reach out to me. And then it's just a little bit about how you can help your student do well. So the first thing is who I am. So like I said, my name is Megan Wallach. I love to travel all over the world. I've been to about 38 different countries, and I just love exploring new cultures and new food and new traditions. So that's something that I really enjoy. And I really like being outdoors. I like hiking. I like going out on the water and kayaks and just pretty much anything that keeps me outdoors, I really enjoy. And my dog Charlie is one of my favorite pastimes. We like to go walking. She likes to swim. So I do lots of things with my dog Charlie. So that's just a little bit about who I am. And I want to tell you a little bit about my background in teaching. So I was born and raised in Minnesota in the United States, and I went to university at Boston College in Boston, Massachusetts. I stayed there and I got my master's in education. So I did my undergraduate degree in chemistry and secondary education, and then I did my master's degree in secondary education with a focus on science education. And I did that at the University of Boston. After that, I taught in Boston Public Schools for 7 years before I moved abroad in Ho Chi Minh City. And I would have loved to stay, but with Corona, things got really tough. And so that's what brought me here to ISA. I've been here since June, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So now I'm going to be talking about the grade 10 science class. So some of the things that your student will need every day is their laptop and a calculator. So far, many students have been using their phones as calculators, but I really need them to have at least a scientific calculator. It doesn't need to be a graphing calculator, but they do need to have one to do basic calculations. On Veracross, you'll see the homework and different links to our class. We're mostly going to be using Google Classroom, and I'll talk a little bit about that next. So Veracross will be really just a place where you can see homework and assessment scores. So Google Classroom is where all of the class resources will be. So I have notes on there, links, resources, any announcements that I need to make. But the biggest thing is that all classwork and homework will be posted on Google Classroom. I am using an app called Cami app at this point. Your student should be familiar with Cami app. It's what we use to annotate the documents so that they can submit them electronically. I am really trying not to print anything. So we're working on the classwork that would normally be printed and written on. It's on their computer, and they annotate it on their computer through the Cami app. So in grade 10 science, we are going to start with physics. So we're doing transportation. Next, we'll do chemistry, and we'll focus on fossil fuels. And then our biology unit will be centered around genetic disease. So you can see here, there are the 4 criteria of the MYP. So the understanding knowledge is going to be like a traditional test. The planning investigations for B and data analysis for C is almost always around a lab that we're doing. And D is the impact of science. And so for this first unit, your student will be assessed on all 4 of those criteria. So I have made some observations in the first week of school, and I did share these with your students. So it would be great if you could also have a conversation with them about it. Some students are doing really well, contributing to conversations that we're having as a class, asking questions when they have them, participating. But many students are not. They are having to be reminded multiple times to pay attention or not talk while other people are talking, those sorts of things. Some students are working really diligently, especially when I give time to work on the classwork. Many are getting distracted. So what I actually told the kids the other day is that I have not yet assigned homework. Everything that they have had to do as homework is something that they didn't finish in class. And so the more time they waste in class, the more homework they're going to have. And some students are completing the classwork on time, and many students are not even attempting it. So at this point, I now have 2 homework assignments graded in Veracross, and many students have a 0 for both of those assignments because they either started it and didn't finish it, so they didn't submit it, or they didn't start it at all. So as grade 10 students, what I told them is that they're going to be expected to take responsibility for their own learning. I am here to support them, but at this point in their academic careers, they need to start taking some ownership of that. So if they're having trouble, here's what I suggest for them to do. The first thing is pay attention in class and use the time that I give you. If you're not using that time to work through the problems and figure out where you're getting stuck, then you do that at home when you don't have my support to help you get you unstuck. And it can really sort of prevent you from feeling like you can finish those assignments. So the first and most important thing is paying attention in class and using the time wisely. The second thing is that I post all of my notes online. Many students have already been using them as a resource to go back and reread things that we talked about or look at examples that I've done. They're a really great resource on the Google Classroom. The second thing is using at least for this first unit, there's a website called The Physics Classroom, and it is an amazing resource. It has tutorials so you can read about the content or the concepts. It also has a lot of video tutorials where it is like a teacher teaching the class, so you can follow along. It has concept challenges where it sort of quizzes you and tests you and gives you feedback on what you're getting wrong so you can go back and relearn it, and tons and tons and tons of practice. The best thing that students can do is practice. And after all of this, if your student is still feeling stuck, I want to just be clear that they can't just say, oh, I'll talk to Wallach in class the next time I have science, because we have to sort of move on. So if your student still needs support, they should plan on coming to see me outside of class time. So either before school or after school, or during like breaks or lunches, things like that. I just can't always guarantee that I'm available during the day, but I can be available before or after school with some notice. Now, if everyone has sort of a similar question, then I will definitely assign some class time to that. So at the end of every class, I ask a few questions to sort of gauge where students are at. And if I read all of those answers and I see, oh, there's something that pretty much everyone isn't getting, then I'll devote some time to that. But if it's an individual student who's feeling like they're struggling a little bit, I can't just give class time to that. We need to keep going. So like I said, Veracross will have assessment scores and homework grades. Google Classroom will have all the resources. I do suggest that you ask your student to add you as a guardian so that you have access to the work that they're doing. You can see the things that I'm posting, what they're doing in class, what they need to do for homework, and have all those announcements. I have told the students this, but I did want to share with you. I will randomly choose one assignment each week to grade and put into Veracross, but I'm not telling the students which assignment that is. So really, they should be doing all of the assignments. And for communication, I will use Veracross notifications or student alerts. I've already sent a few alerts home. All of the alerts that I have sent home have been positive ones. So please make sure that you check in with your student and see if they're getting those positive alerts. I know this was short and a lot to throw at you all at once, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is mwallach@isa.nl. That is the easiest way to to reach me, and I can commit to responding to anyone's email within 48 hours. I try my best to do it within 24, but I'm not always able to do that, but definitely within 48 hours for working hours. I will very rarely respond over the weekend. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that. I'm sad that I don't get to meet you in person, but this is what we've got to do for now. So please feel free to reach out if you do have any questions. Thanks.